Hey everybody, welcome back to the family channel.
Hello!
Hope you guys are having a fantastic day so far. Today we are reacting to BOATLIFT, an untold tale of 9/11 resilience. And this is a request from Amanda on Instagram. She sent me a few requests actually, and this is one of them. The other one is Operation Yellow Ribbon, which we'll get to probably next week. But I thought this one would be a good one to start with because I've seen this video, but Kat and the kids haven't. And I remember exactly where I was when 9/11 happened, and I was terrified, even being in South Africa. I don't know whether you remember where you were, but I'm sure you saw it.
I think everybody remembers where they were at that time. I remember clearly exactly what happened.
It was absolutely terrifying, and like I've mentioned, I've seen this video before, and it like proper touched me. So I really want the kids in there to see. So great suggestion, Amanda. Thank you very much. I wouldn't have even thought to do it. I've asked the kids to ask as many questions as they want because it's important for them to learn, but I might not be able to give them the 100% accurate answers because it was a long time ago and I don't know a great deal about what happened in the aftermath of everything. So if I get any details wrong, I do apologize, but I want to try and explain to the kids as properly as we can really, without offending anybody.
Before the video, can I ask you what is 9/11?
9/11 was September 11th, 2001.
Yes.
There was some aeroplanes hijacked and they flew them into the World Trade Centers in New York. And they also tried to attack the Pentagon, I think it was.
Yes, like Pentagon. Yeah, it was basically a terrorist attack.
Isn't there like holes like in the floor where the towers were?
Yeah, Ground Zero now. There's a big monument because so many people, not only the people who are in the buildings, but the first responders like the ambulance drivers, the firemen, and that they also lost their lives when the buildings collapsed, and actually afterwards as well, because there was so much dust in it. A lot of people have died from cancer, from breathing it all in. So it was a very tragic thing that has affected lives up until today, and I'm sure it will affect lives for years to come. So it is quite a serious thing, but we're going to check it out. But as usual, guys, if you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And without further ado, let's check out BOATLIFT, an untold tale of 9/11 resilience. A hero is a man who does what he can. Remember that. Or woman.
I thought I was watching a movie, Towering Inferno at first. And then I looked real close, and I noticed it was the World Trade Center. I was compelled because I'm a type of person that can't stand by and watch other people suffer. And to me, they were suffering. They wanted to get off the island. And there was no way for them to get off the island other than the water. And I had noticed when I was watching the television, I saw a lot of, the ferries going up into the slips and taking people off. I said, fine, we could do the same thing. I could take people on my boat, get in there, take them where they have to go. And that's what we did.
It's amazing. There's the buildings. I don't know, sorry to pause it. I think the way you guys will recognize the building is that like in Friends, they sometimes show it in Friends. The skyline, the New York skyline, and they're the two really tall buildings.
It was like
everyone knew about the Twin Towers.
Everyone knew about but everyone knew that was like a symbol of New York.
New York. It was in so many movies and stuff.
How many planes crashed at the
Three, I think.
On the morning of September 11th, when the towers came down, millions of people ran for safety. Hundreds of thousands of them ran south to the water's edge.
They were trapped, basically.
That's when they realized that Manhattan is indeed an island, and that they were trapped.
They were feeling helpless, and that's the worst feeling in the world. What was a person on the ground going to do? Buildings were down. There were people laying under the rubble of the building. Firemen, civilians. My wife was there, and I turned around. I says, I've got to go do something. Just like that. And she looked at me. She says, what are you going to do, you maniac? I says, I'm going to take the amberjack up into the city and help. She says, but what if they're attacked again? I says, well, then that's something I have to live with. I says, I have to do what I have to do. I says, and nobody can stop me right now. Even if I save one person or I rescue one person, that's one person less that will suffer and die.
See? Well, there's loads of boats. That's what this is about.
They were trying to evacuate Manhattan because nobody knew what was going on. You know, you didn't know if something else was going to happen. It was just, you know, a madness on one side and, you know, and wanting to help people on the other side.
They were just streaming out of the buildings. And the first mode of transportation they saw was a ferry boat. That's when they knew, this is how I'm getting out of here. So they didn't even care where the boat was going.
There wasn't panic in New York in the beginning, just volume. It wasn't until the first building fell that there was panic.
You heard the building go down, but we're in the slip, so we can't see it. That's when we started letting go, and then all of a sudden, engulfed. You couldn't see anything.
People were actually jumping into the river and swimming out of Manhattan. Boats were very nearly running them over.
Wait. These people wanted out of Manhattan no matter any way they could.
Somebody wants you to go over there. Every mode of transportation out of Manhattan was shut down. All the subways were shut. The tunnels were all closed. They closed the bridges. They closed everything immediately.
Boats, usually an afterthought in most New Yorkers' minds, were for the first time in over a century the only way in or out of Lower Manhattan.
The process that actually had already started.
Like, can you imagine how many people there were?
Yeah, this is
like,
it.
It must have been like, cause Manhattan is like a,
It's just like.
It's just
so
the
populated.
center of New York, basically. Like, you know, so popular,
Wait,
and like
did
they
they-
had to get out of there. Like, it must have been horrendous.
Did they close the bridge, like to
They
drive
closed
over?
everything because they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
So they're trying to and because obviously what's happening with the buildings, those buildings were massive. They were so tall. So when they collapsed, the amount of destruction as well. It was.
Was it 2 buildings?
Two buildings, yeah. Yeah, it's very, oh man. Like, I've never been in a situation where I've needed to help someone like that. I like to think I would, but I don't know. I would never know. These guys who jumped in their boats and they're like, I'm going towards the danger. They are just as brave as the firemen and the police and everything. True heroes. And this is I said it in my video, this is a true statement. Like, it shows how the American people, when they need to, they just pull together. It doesn't matter who you are, what you've done. If you're in trouble, they'll help you. It's insane. It's so good.
There were some boats that were grabbing people, that people were lined up at the walls.
On the left.
It's just human nature. You see people in distress on the seawall in Manhattan begging you to pick them up. You have to pick them up.
They didn't know what was going on. They seen the building getting hit with these 2 planes. As far as they was concerned, you know, we were being bombed. I was wondering if they were going to come on the boat, if they had people with bombs, or if they were going to come on. We're a big orange target in the middle of that harbor. My job is to keep the boat safe, my passengers safe, my crew safe.
Everybody was in shock, running around. They didn't want to leave their families. They had loved ones running around the city.
Everybody has a baby! Nobody has it!
There was one guy ran from the apron and jumped onto the boat. He grabbed onto the metal, climbed up right next to the pilot. So I'm going out there to say something. He slides down to the next deck. So the deckhands get him and go, what are you doing? He goes, I'm jumping for my life. So, you know, you couldn't argue with him there.
There was a small boat that was at the lower tip of Manhattan. I thought the boat was going to flip over because so many people were trying to get on. And as I looked behind, they were just 10 deep. That's kind of what gave us the idea.
We decided that this has to get better organized and we better do it, and that's what we did.
So we decided to make the call on the radio. All available boats. This is the United States Coast Guard aboard the pilot boat in New York. Anyone want to help with the evacuation of Lower Manhattan, report to Governor's Island.
When that call came on the radio, they were coming.
I was uncertain of who was going to respond. About 15, 20 minutes later, there are just boats all across the horizon.
Literally 100 targets converging on the lower part of Manhattan.
When we came out of that dust cloud, tugboats, I'd never seen so many tugboats all at once.
There was just like a fleet of tugboats headed to Manhattan.
If it floated and it could get there, it got there. All different size, shapes, and forms. I mean, and they were zooming across this water.
Ferries, private boats, party boats.
I worked on the water for 28 years. I've never seen that many boats come together at one time that fast. One radio call, and it just came together just that fast.
I've got a bit teary. Can you just imagine all those people standing there waiting to be rescued? How the relief when they see all these boats coming. They must have felt so like, oh.
The other thing I'm thinking, because it must have got very dusty there, and like how did this boat, like, how did they see, like, where they can go? Like,
well, they got sonar.
Yeah,
and
they got navigation.
It's
unbelievable.
It's an awesome story. I've been putting, like, I wasn't gonna do this one. I'll be honest with you, because when I did it on my channel, it got restricted and blocked somewhere as well. I'm hoping it doesn't on this, because it is an awesome story. As sad as it was, it's like, I don't know, it was tragic. I don't want to word it wrong. It was such a tragic thing, but seeing how everyone came together to rescue people and that, it's like
to help
a happy moment as well. Like, it's, I don't know if I've worded it correctly. I mean, look at
Hundreds of boats converged on the city, leaving the sun-bathed harbor behind them. Dead ahead, the unknown.
That was something I won't forget. It was just low, dark, acrid, black smoke. It's like there was a big chimney in Manhattan. When we pulled into Pier 11, the dust was unbelievable.
And then out of nowhere, you just kept on seeing people coming.
They looked like zombies coming through the fog, and you knew that those were human beings.
Don't leave us. Please don't leave us here. Take us. At that point, the Coast Guard said, not how many people are you allowed, how many people can you fit?
Come on, guys. Anybody coming? Get your ass over here now. Now. Come on.
Boats started hanging. Literally would take a bedsheet off a bunk and a can of spray paint and paint their destination on.
Some of these people never been in the water, never been on a boat before.
Housewives, workers that do windows. We had executives. And the thing that was the best, everyone helped everyone.
I want you to hold my hand. Come on board. Get inside. One at a time. Get inside.
When it's like that, there's no rich, there's no poor, there's no color, there's no, everyone helps each other. It's amazing. Like,
the same, isn't it? It's amazing. It should always be like that, isn't it, really?
It's sad that it takes a tragedy like that to bring everyone together, but it's also heartwarming as well. Look, he's helping him put his life jacket on.
I saw 4 businessmen lifting up an old woman with a seeing eye dog, a German Shepherd, and they lifted her up like a surfboard and passed her over the handrails.
When we would carry a load of people over, and there was somebody standing there that seen her husband or wife, you know, that made us feel even better, you know. Well, at least we got 2 back together, you know. Just keep on going, you know.
The guy that works at the ferry, he's a welder. His son was on my boat. He actually came up. He thanked me.
We went back and forth all day long, carrying boatloads, as many as our boat would hold. And it's a lot of people. A lot of people. You couldn't have planned nothing to happen that fast, that quick.
No training. This was just people doing what they had to do that day.
You forget all about what you're supposed to do, what they teach you in school, and you say, you know what, morally, this is the right way to go, and deep down, this is what I'm gonna do.
Average people, they stepped up, and when they needed to. They showed me, you know, when the American people need to come together and pull together, they will do it.
I do feel a way honored that I was a part of it.
It was the greatest thing I ever did with my life.
The greatest day that I've ever seen in all my boating. I mean, my life on the water.
The Great Boat Lift of 9/11 became the largest sea evacuation in history.
Wow.
Larger than the evacuation of Dunkirk in World War II, where 339,000 British and French soldiers were rescued over the course of 9 days. On 9/11, nearly 500,000 civilians were rescued from Manhattan by boat. It took less than 9 hours.
Did you hear that? 189,000 troops were rescued in World War II. No, and that took how many? 9 days.
9
5
days, and then 500,000 in 9 hours.
That's
on the boat.
insane.
That is
just shows how many people came together and how.
That's a lot of people.
I believe somebody has a little hero in them. You gotta look in.
Look, and they just go
And it's in there.
what they do.
It'll come out. It need to be.
I have one theory in life. I never want to say the word I should have. If I do it and I fail, I tried. If I do it and I succeed, better for me. Should have.
I want Garen to hear this, and you listen to what that man's saying.
I have one theory in life. I never want to say the word I should have. If I do it and I fail, I tried. If I do it and I succeed, better for me. And I tell my children the same thing. Never go through life saying you should have. If you want to do something, you do it.
Wow.
You hear that? That's great advice, actually.
That is.
Yeah. What a clever man.
What an awesome story.
Yeah,
It's-
it's actually a bit sad.
It is sad.
Isn't
It
that
is.
strange that I've never heard of this.
I never heard of it until someone recommended it on my channel, and I watched it, and I think this is the one that got me all proper teared up because, like, I remember, and it didn't affect me nearly as much as it affected the people of New York and people of America, but like I remember it like it was yesterday. Like we were sitting there and we were like, what the heck is actually going on? And the sight of those planes flying into the buildings and the other stuff they were showing on the news, I'm not going to say to the kids, but it was
like watching a movie.
Yeah, it almost wasn't real, but it was.
Didn't feel real, is it?
Yeah.
But I'm actually really shocked because I was constantly watching the news those days, and I've never seen this evacuation.
The unsung heroes, aren't they?
Has the buildings been repaired now?
No. There's a big monument there for everyone who passed away. And like there's still people. There was a photo, a very famous photo of the woman covered in dust.
Yes.
She recently died, didn't she, of cancer from breathing in
all
caused by breathing in. Well, you never know what was in that. There could have been asbestos or all sorts in that you're breathing in.
Because that dust, you don't want to even breathe any dust in.
No, that remains the biggest terrorist attack ever. Still.
So far, let's hope it doesn't happen.
Let's not try not to think like that. But yeah, it's a sad story, but it's also.
Like it makes
it's also
me
like
happy.
an inspirational story, isn't it? How everyone pulled together, they got, and like he said, we couldn't have planned it better. If you had planned this, you couldn't have planned it better. Everyone just came and did what they could do. So yeah.
It makes me
an
like
amazing
happy how they.
story, like amazing people, like really,
And look,
really.
they just salt of the earth people. Goes back to work as a boat captain. He doesn't want any thanks or anything. He did his job, and now he's.
It makes me like happy how they help the people, all of each other.
Like the mindset is like, well, it can be dangerous, but I'm still going in there, like.
No, it's awesome. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Amanda, thank you so much for the suggestions. We'll get to the Yellow Ribbon one. I think it's Yellow Ribbon, Operation Yellow Ribbon. We'll get to that hopefully next week. But yeah, I couldn't not show the kids and Kat this video because, like Kat said, she's never heard of it, and it's such an inspirational and awesome story that came out of the tragedy that was 9/11. So yeah, thank you so much, and yeah, we will see you when
Next video.
Bye.